If the temperature of the refrigerant at this point is less than 10 degrees above ambient, then there could be some issues in the system in terms of heat rejection. Here we would be looking at, first of all, checking to make sure that the system is in cooling mode. This may require us to drop the internal temperature to drive the cooling. After rechecking the condenser fins, if we're still finding that the temperature is less than 10 degrees higher than ambient, then there may be an issue with the refrigerant charge within the system. A lack of refrigerant within the compressor will not be able to be heated up to such a high temperature, and therefore the rate of heat rejection to outside would be limited. This can have an impact on the cooling provided within the building and can reduce energy performance of the system. Here then it would be recommended that the building manager undertake further investigations to establish whether the refrigerant charge is too low or to look at any other issues to do with the compressor operation. So taking our temperature reading across the compressor, it's slightly lower than what we would expect to see. We've double checked that the system is in cooling and it's operational, so we would need to make a recommendation within the report that further investigation be undertaken on this to establish whether the refrigerant charge is too low, for instance. We now need to do a visual inspection on the condenser fins themselves. There are a couple of areas of minor damage within the system, but on the whole, the quality is actually very good. It's been protected by its proximity to the building here. In general then, the main issue with the system is really the use of the R22 refrigerant, which is being phased out over the next couple of years. There therefore need to be some kind of plan in place for the future replacement of the system or the refrigerant. Because the system is more than 10 years old, one of the recommendations within the report would be to replace this with a newer and more energy efficient system. This would resolve the issue with the refrigerant replacements as well as providing a much more energy efficient system. Here we have two external mounted condensers. As part of this case study, we're not able to get access to these to inspect them because they're on an adjacent owner's strip of land, and we've got a busy driveway here with lorries thundering past. On a real inspection, what we need to do is to speak to both the building manager and the owner of this piece of land to try and arrange a convenient time to undertake the inspection of these. Another way of dealing with this would be to select condenser units that we are able to access for the sampling processes of the air conditioning survey, and perhaps only take a quick visual inspection of this area. We've now looked at the external condenser units, and now we need to do the inspection on the indoor units. I'm now inside, so I can take my high-vis jacket off and get a bit more comfortable. This particular unit, Sanyo unit, we can drop down this access hatch here to get access to the filter and the fan. This particular unit doesn't have a remote control with it. This has been lost over the years, and therefore we're unable to turn the system on. This needs to be noted as part of the survey in terms of any restrictions on the inspections. We can see here that the filter itself is relatively clean. There's no build-up of debris or dust within the filter. However, there is some light wear on it, and therefore, before it's used in the future, it should be quickly cleaned. There is no debris seen within the fan housing or anything there that could impede the rotation of the fan when it's moving. We can see in the corner here that there is a nameplate containing the serial number and model reference for this particular unit, and we need to make a note of all this information within our survey notes. I now just close this up, and we'll just need to fill out our survey notes and put all this information into it. Just looking at our second indoor unit here, We know that the LG system is a split unit mounted on the external wall, and we've had a look at the unit outside. So let's just open this up and have a look at the inside of this. Again, we can see that the filter is actually extremely clean and there's no build-up of dust on it. There's no debris within the fan casing, and the whole system, apart from some marks on the diffusers on the side here, is actually very good condition. We do need to put this in operation just to check that it does work. So using our remote control, we can just test this and turn the system on. We can see now that the blades are opening and there's cold air being pushed through. We need to make a note of all the details of this, including all the manufacturer's detail from the nameplate inside on our survey notes. Now that we've turned the unit on, we can hear that there's actually quite a lot of noise from the fan itself, and this may be because it's not sitting right in the housing. It'd be worth recommending within the report that this is looked at further. Okay. We need to now look at another 2 indoor units. In the office in the corner here, there are 2 ceiling cassette units, each of which is linked to a split system situated on the wall. Now, from our initial walk around outside, we could see that these are actually large external units, more commonly used to feed a couple of indoor units. Because these 2 systems serve these 2 ceiling cassette units within this one space, it's worth checking the estimated cooling loads within our space here and compare them against the rated cooling capacity of the system, just to check and see whether they're oversized. So the first unit here is a Dakin system, and both of these are connected to Dakin condensers on the outside wall. First thing to do here is to drop down our access panel and have a look at the filter condition and the fans. Here we can see again that the filter is actually in very good condition, with no dust or build-up within the filter itself. The fan housing is clean, and there's nothing here that could restrict the movement of the fan within the housing. The details for the model and for the nameplate are located here, and we should be making note of these within our report notes. We should now look to put the system into operation just to check that it's working in cooling mode, and just to check to make sure the diffusers are working.